Terry Bradshaw here in the UVM Orchard, May 20th, 2024. Gonna check on a few things this week. We're at petal fall, kind of early petal fall. We're not 100% petal fall, but pretty soon the petals will all be off, which means we can start to manage our insects and our fruit for the year. Our codling moth, we started catching codling moths last Friday. You see this guy is still flittering around a little bit. This is a classic codling moth. You can see the dark bands on the back of the wings. It's about 3/8 of an inch long. These traps that have the lure are very selective. So basically, if you see a moth about this size with the dark bands on the wings, you can pretty reliably assume it's a codling moth. This one's been here for a couple days. You see it starts to kind of darken. This is one that landed, it's still alive, landed with its wings open. So we've caught 3. Friday we caught our first, this guy here. So we set our biofix date in NIWA or whatever degree day calculator you choose to use. And we will use that to treat at 360 degree days from now, which is when these moths, which are flying, these moths don't do any damage to the fruit. These moths are mating, they're flying, and now they're starting to lay eggs, and those eggs need to hatch. So that's what the time's for. At petal fall, we're also looking at kind of the state of our fruit. So you can see this is a Paul red tree. The petals are coming off. These will be, a little bit of rain, a little stiff wind will blow the rest of these off. But you see, we're starting to set our fruit. And this year we've got a pretty heavy blossom load, except in areas where we had some freeze out. In this particular part of the orchard, there's 8 varieties, and they were all in different states on April 25th when we had that cold weather. So we do have some damage. I'll show on the next tree that's lower in the tree, but these are looking good. And remember, all we need out of these is one of these to set a fruit for us to have our crop. You can start to see fruit sets starting to come, like in this one, where the sepals start to close around the remainder of the flower parts. That means that this fruit is setting. This one is likely setting. It's starting to close. Some of these other ones, this may not have set. This may drop off. We'll see that within a few days. And you can flick these off and you'll see which ones, but I suspect this one's setting. So when they start to size up and the fruit start to size up and the sepals close, we know that they've set. So we will do some thinning in here. It's very difficult to thin multi-variety orchards because you've got your bloom spread apart so far. You often have very different conditions of bloom, so we tend to shoot down the middle. We did treat these with NAA, naphthalene acetic acid, over the weekend as a first kind of mild bloom thinner. We're heading into 3 days of hot weather. Hot weather certainly ramps up the activity of thinners. But our first real thinner will probably be at the end of this week when we'll treat either with NAA, maybe with 6BA. I'm not sure what we'll use, kind of depending on the weather. Here's a Cortland right next to it. This Cortland, you can see we have got some fruit set. Got your classic leggy Cortland growth. But you can see we're setting fruit. But as you go further down, lower in the tree where the cold air settled, we've got these blossom clusters that are just popping right off. These likely froze on April 25th. There's one that might be hanging on. It's not flicking off so easily. So this is going to be one that's a little bit more difficult to thin. That's why I'm not going to be as aggressive in thinning as I normally would have, because I want to see where these settle out. In fact, I'll wait a little bit later in the week and see if these start sizing up. Now that I see some of these are sticking on, I actually think we've got a decent crop in here. But time remains to be seen. So it's good to keep an eye on things every couple days, see if things are sizing up, and then appropriately if needed. The other thing is, once the petals are 100% off, and I mean 100%, no bees flying, no flowers on the ground, so mowing if there's any ground cover, we are now ready to apply our insecticides. Plum curculio, we're probably in the trees now. The next 3 days of hot weather is prime plum curculio migration weather, so they will be in the trees. So we'll do a full orchard contact insecticide. We'll probably use indoxacarb, a lot of different materials to use. And then we'll use the degree day model to see how far the plum curculio are active. I think it's going to be a short season because it's so warm right now in the petal fall window. That's it for today, and we'll catch up next week.